All right, guys. So I wanted to jump in and say, how the hell is Gene Deal still doing interviews? So Gene Deal, if you don't know, he's been doing interviews for a few years now, talking about Puff, talking about, you may know him as Diddy, you may know him as Brother Love. He's currently in jail right now, waiting to start his case. So in next month he's about to start his case in May. They're going to start doing jury selection, and they're going to get the trial going. But this guy has been doing interviews for years on Diddy. So he was Diddy's former bodyguard. So his job was to protect Diddy or anybody that he was assigned to protect. He worked directly for Bad Boy Records, the record label Diddy owned. And so what he did was he started doing some interviews a few years back and telling stories about Diddy. And in the beginning, you watch these stories and you're like, okay, they're they're just he's just talking, giving war stories about what's going on. And then in doing these war stories, he's never been shy about his issues with Diddy and not liking how Diddy moved as far as paying people and behind the scenes stuff. And then he even went on to discuss, alleged abuse done by Diddy towards women and other people, and abuse monetarily, abuse physically, the way that Diddy abused himself with alcohol and possibly drugs. And it's just insane to me that this guy has been doing interviews for years on Diddy, and then no one calls him out. I mean, I'm watching videos and they say, let me see, I search Gene Deal. Let's see what they show on the screen. So on the right here, Gene Deal reveals shocking reason 50 Cent hates Irv Gotti. See, last month he pivoted to the Irv Gotti thing. He was talking about Diddy for a long time, and then when Diddy's court situation was happening, then he switched over, started talking about 50. He brought up one story about 50. 50 got mad, then he apologized to 50, and then said something else about 50 in the same video. Nothing bad, but now he's on Stevie J. Gene Deal rips Stevie J for betraying Biggie uh, for dating Faith Evans. So Faith Evans, if you don't know, was Biggie Smalls' notorious B.I.G. That was an artist on Bad Boy Records. Stevie J was a producer, part of a producing group called the Hitmen, and they made hits for Bad Boy Records. And he was friends with Faith Evans and Biggie. And now, many years later, after Biggie's passing, he ended up dating Faith Evans and marrying her for a short while. I'm not sure if they're still married now. I don't believe they are. But Gene Deal says it's messed up, which it is a little weird, but it happens. But I just don't get how Gene Deal, a corrections officer. No, sorry, no, he wasn't a corrections officer. He was like a marshal. He worked in some form of government. He had like a government job. So he did that. Um, and then you go and do security, which is common. Cops do security work for famous people all the time. But what they don't do is they don't go on camera after they retire and after they've been let go by Diddy, and then or he quit. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I think Gene Deal said that he quit. After you quit, and then you just start bashing the guy in for freaking 10 years in a row. I mean, and I don't know if I need to be corrected. It could have been him or it could have been another bouncer. But did even offer to give you some money to not write a book. And then I might be confused with another bodyguard, but it's just insane. This whole situation is just funny to me. Sorry, I'm not moving the screens. I'm focused. This situation is crazy to me that you can work for someone, get money from them, you witness these things and don't do a thing. You don't do anything. In my opinion, you don't. In my opinion, this is my personal opinion. Uh, you're there to witness this. You're outside the hotel room listening to the alleged violence that's going on in the room. When somebody's being brought into that room and something's happening, what's happening. But you turn a blind eye to that and you say, oh, I don't know what's exactly happening in there. I don't hear what's going on in there. And then you come out years later and you're doing interviews about it nonstop. And it's not for free. You're getting paid. So let's not act like you're doing this out of the kindness of your heart and you just want to get the story out there. And maybe you started that way. until you got monetized and until you go and start doing these interviews and getting paid for it. Because when you do these interviews, you clearly state, "Hey, you got me for another, bro. You got me for an hour, bro. Ask me whatever you want. I'll tell you anything. I was there. I was there. Not I did something. Not I stopped it. Not I called I pulled him to the side. Hey, say, hey, I'll have to report you. You keep this up. Chill out. None of that. No, no, no. I was there. I left the room and we sent a different guy to go clean it up. Yeah, that's what happened. I don't get this. This is insane. This is insane. I understand when you get away with stuff like this, when people do this and they get away with it, and they, by saying get away with it, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. When I say get away, I'm saying this Gene Deal right here. This guy here. Yeah. So I don't hate Gene Deal. I don't hate Gene Deal. He's always in my feed. I do watch the videos, and I know how the algorithm works. When you start watching things, other things pop up. But it's just, I just realized, it just hit me like I've been watching this guy for a couple years now, kicking Diddy's back in this whole time, and talking about, yeah, man, I was part of this group, and I was the good guy out the group, and all of this other stuff. And then, what the hell is this? I gotta move that. I gotta get out of that screen. And he's like, I'm the good guy out the group, and yeah, I worked for Puff, and he was a bad guy. He did it, but you worked for him all these years. You worked for him all these years, and come on, man. You can't say one story where you went and grabbed them and choked them up, and call the cops on him. Did something, and come on, man, come on, and man, this is just insane. It's just insane. I mean, you're getting paid by the person. I'm not saying cover it up. I'm saying if you're going to be an all the way good guy, then you need to be an all the way good guy. You need to freaking tell. If you're going to be a civilian. If you're a civilian, civilians tell. That's their job. Your job is, as a civilian, is to tell. If you see a crime being committed, you need to tell, so then it doesn't happen to someone else, and then you make the world a better place, right? But no, you're there on the sidelines, wishing you were part of that other underside world. At the same time, you're critiquing them, so you're talking shit about them while wanting to be them, while wanting to be in that world, and then you're critiquing them at the same time, making money off of it, making videos. And I'm sure you're going to testify. There's plenty of video proof. Listen, there's so much video proof that I don't even think he'll have to testify. He'll just have to go up there and say that, yeah, that was me. I said that. That's it. I mean, probably for cross-examination on Puffy's side, interviewing him, lining up the dates and stuff like that. But this is just, there's so many interviews there. You can track years and years of supposed, activity from Diddy, and you did nothing. I don't get it. I mean, in my eyes, you did nothing. You didn't do what you could. You didn't do what you could. I mean, the guy looks like he's 6'5", 6'6", almost 300 pounds or 300 pounds. He can grab a guy up with no problem. And he was a lot younger then. He worked for Diddy years ago. He could have grabbed the guy up or grabbed Diddy up off of, whoever he was doing, and stopped it. But he didn't. But now he's making videos about it, making money. And I don't know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to clap for this? I don't get it. I mean, I like watching it. I comment on things, but I feel like if I was in that situation, I'd stop it, if I could. If I can't, then guess what? I'm calling the cops and they'll stop it. And I'll definitely report it then. I won't wait a couple years when I'm not getting paid. When I'm not getting paid by them, then all of a sudden I got a conscience and I want to talk about it. It's crazy. I was going to play a video, but I don't want to get flagged. I don't want to play any of these videos because when you're commenting on someone like this, the first thing they're going to do is look for a way to flag your content to try to get it shut down or whatever. And I don't get tons of views already, so I'm not even going to go there. I'm definitely going to talk about this guy here, Curtis King. I'm definitely going to make a video on him. So Curtis King, he has been up Kendrick's behind for a little over a year. I didn't understand why. His content was all about independent artists, and he does talk about what's going on. I'm not saying he doesn't. He talks about what's going on, and he went and did a live stream at the same time that Kendrick was performing at the Super Bowl. His numbers went, for him, they did really well. He did really good numbers. He did great numbers. And then he just went on this Kendrick love thing. And he was on the Kendrick thing before, with the Kendrick and Drake thing. He was always 100% on Kendrick's side. But then when he interviewed Punch from TDE, I said, okay, he was kissing their ass because he wanted to get the good content. So he um he did that for the time being to get the interview, but it's still going. So I guess this is how he feels. But I want to deep dive on Curtis King, because this is the thing when you follow these influencers, they all have their camps. They all have their camps, and I mean, I'll admit when I like an artist, but I'm not gonna be biased. I'm gonna say it how it is, and that's why I always tend to gravitate to when I'm watching content. When they start doing their bias wave, where you can't say one bad thing about Kendrick, then I'm like, okay, forget it. You can't say anything bad. All right, then yeah, I'm out of there. But yeah, that's just how I feel with this whole Gene Deal situation. Let me see, Gene. I got Gene Deal number 2 after Gene Hackman. Yeah, so there it goes. So this is 11 days ago, 2 weeks ago, weeks ago. Yeah, he does interviews with a few people. His the Gene Deal show, 183,000 subscribers. I believe he cooks on that show and talks about what's going on, you know, in the industry of stuff, his stories, I think, war stories. But yeah, he's been doing this for a few years now and keeps getting paid. Every month comes out with a new set of interviews that they chop it up, and then they put it out, the full interview, and he's getting paid. And it's just another story. And I don't know. I guess you can talk about your life, but this is just insane. When you're not getting paid, then all of a sudden you have a conscience, you want to speak up about things. It's nuts. Uh, all right, man. Thanks for watching. That was just me ranting. Please remember to subscribe. That word subscribe, man. Please remember to subscribe. I'm not editing this. I'm not cutting things out. Remember to subscribe to the channel, please. I appreciate your support and viewership and like and comment. It does help with the algorithm. As you can see, if you're looking at the YouTube page now, they made the thumbnails a lot bigger. They're doing a restructuring thing at YouTube, changing things up, changing the look of it. And I feel like this is going to be part of a big major shift with YouTube, because they're gearing up to for longer form content, and for to push things onto YouTube TV. So when you're making YouTube videos, it's going to be featured on YouTube TV and YouTube related platforms. So they're going to give you an even bigger push. I think it's going to be a whole ecosystem push, and that's why they're changing things up, and that's why the algorithm is so important, and that's why your subscription is so important. It's free. Just click and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.